Altmans,
Here.
Hellenthal, Andrews, Tillman,
Here.
Bryant,
Here.
Greenwald,
Here.
6 present, 3 absent.
Item number 4, mayor's correspondence. On Friday, tomorrow, April 21st, there's a house plant swap at the public library from 3 to 5 p.m. Bring your plants to trade and make sure you label what they are. Saturday, April 22nd, we have a pancake and sausage fundraiser for the Noah Courtney family at the high school. It will run from 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. and it's free will donations. Houseplant swap at the Keokuk Public Library will continue from 9 to noon. And to bring your plants again for trade, make sure they're labeled. Item number 3, the Keokuk Area Chamber is hosting Earth Day cleanup from 8 to 10. Stop at Estes Park, which is right across the street here at 5th and Main, to get your supplies and to pick a place to clean. Item number 4, Spring Craft Show at the Keokuk Labor Temple at 3rd and Blondo, and that's 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. Item number 5 is Showboat Saturday night at the St. Vincent's Catholic School, 2981 Plank Road. It starts at 4:30 p.m. and there's dinner, dancing, and a live and silent auction. The theme is Denim and Diamonds. And then Friday, we're moving clear to Friday, May 5th. United Way is having their annual fundraiser golf outing at Schaefer Golf Course in Fort Madison, Iowa at noon. For more information, call 319-524-4504. Item number 5, citizens' request. If we have someone that would like to speak, we ask that you try to keep it to 5 minutes if you can. If you would like to speak, you come to the podium here, speak into the microphone, tell us your name and address, and if there's anybody here, please come forward.
I am Maggie Simon, representing the South Lee County Relay for Life Committee. And in planning, we have come up with an idea that we would like to invite the city council members to participate in. And it's a pie in the face contest. It's just whipped cream pie at our event, relay event on June 16th. It would consist of donations being collected for relay, designating who among you should receive a pie. The competition would determine the contestants with the 3 highest donation amounts to receive a whipped cream pie in the face. And there would be a limited time to purchase insurance with a donation to our cause to ensure you're not the recipient of a pie. And only the insurance representative would be aware of this, so there could still be some good competition amongst you. We would request that you be in attendance at Relay at 5 p.m. Friday, June 16th. And in the event that you're one of the top 3 and didn't purchase insurance, you would have the opportunity to match the donation amount raised to save your face from the pie. The honor of a pie would then be passed down to the next highest donation amount so that we would have 3 people receive a pie. We certainly appreciate your willingness to consider this, and it should be good, clean fun for the community. You may help others, other contestants by collecting donations in their name. So you're competing by not raising the donations for yourself because the highest people will get the pie. So say I'm going to use Dan as an example. If everybody wants to see Dan get a pie, they would put all of the funds they collect in his container. And you can do that. He'll let you do that. Then Relay is planned as a family fun event or block party type with games and activities for all ages. Hopefully we'll get some families out there, and there would be food and drink, for purchase. We also have a silent auction and other opportunities to support American Cancer Society, including luminarias that will line the flower garden areas as we've done in the last few years. So I'd like to thank you for your time and considering this request. So watch your emails. I'll probably send something out if that's appropriate to send an email to all of you and see if you'd be available. Be good to see people out in the community, wanting to see you get a pie, but not guaranteed to see it. Anyway, we used to do this at an event for the hospital relay team, and it was great fun. Good sports. So, thank you.
So you'll be emailing us all the rules and
If that
regulations
works,
and all that?
yes.
Okay.
Yep. If
All right.
that would work, I'll send something next week, and then you can let me know if you would be available and willing to do that.
Okay.
Okay?
All right. Thank
All
you.
right, thank you.
My name is Lawrence Barrett. I live at 729 Grand Avenue. I had a couple questions about the Rand Park Fund that came up at the last city council meeting. I think there was a lot of kind of confusion around this. So I'm going to explain what I understood, and please feel free to correct me if I'm wrong. So my understanding is we have this pile of money because basically people donated to the park, and those donations went into the Rand Park Fund. And then the expenditures that those should have paid for came out of the general fund. So my questions about this, the first question is, can the Rand Park Fund be used to reimburse the general fund for the previous expenditures?
Yes, because what we did was in this last budget was to take those expenditures we knew that should have been reimbursed to the general fund, and we reimbursed those.
Oh, okay.
But what it is we don't have records all the way back to when that fund
I
was
see.
established. So what we knew from the last year, we are transferring those over.
Okay. And then going forward, can the fund be used to pay for park maintenance and expenses?
If the council so chooses, yes.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
I have a question. Like, if we're moving the expenditures from the past year, what would an example be?
So when the splash pad was being built, there were donations that were put into the park improvement fund, but we expensed them out of the general fund. We caught most of those, but there was some concrete that was, money for concrete that was donated that didn't get moved over, and we've done that.
Hello, my name is William Banas. I live at 730 Hazelhurst. And I've been told that it's always nice to say nice things about people before you bring up your complaint. So if anybody hasn't read the nice article that the mayor wrote concerning our city parks, you should do that. I don't know where it was, but my wife sent it to me, and she did a really good job of encouraging people to come to the parks, and I think they should. I'd like to recognize Councilwoman Oltmans. 4 or 5 months ago, I'd asked a question concerning the power poles and the, on Hazelhurst and the cable lines. And she got back to me right away, and I really appreciate that. I guess I should say that I'm a new resident to Keokuk, haven't only been here about a year and a half, and it's, I really like what I see, and people want to know what brought me here, grandchildren. Okay, and the other thing is Main Street Keokuk seems to be doing a really good job of promoting the available buildings. And I don't know if it was Main Street Keokuk or if it was the ordinance that was passed by council for the abandoned buildings, but the one at the corner of 6th and Main that had the pigeons flying in and out and no windows, and the stuff looks much better than it did. I don't know, how much was Main Street Keokuk and how much of it was that $200 fine to our absentee landlords, but it looks much better than it did. Now, 2 things I want to talk about. As a new resident, when I went down to Home Store, I noticed that there were a number of intersections that do not have 4-way stop signs, which I thought was amazing. So there's one at 3rd and Des Moines, 4th and Des Moines. Then you go down Des Moines, and there's one on 19th and Des Moines. So I asked about this, and I went down to the police department, actually, and the 2 ladies there basically said that, well, that's just the way it is, and that Iowa determines where stop signs go. And I thought, that doesn't make any sense, because you have local autonomy in deciding where stop signs are placed. So then I asked the chief about it, I don't know, 3, 4 meetings ago. And he said The chief, now, I'm paraphrasing, and if I'm quoting you wrong, tell me. Their job is not to decide where stop signs go. Their job is to enforce the laws, the traffic laws. So then I decided, well, since I'm retired and I have nothing else better to do, I'm going to learn my things about my city a little more. So lo and behold, just in the last week, 19th in Des Moines, 12th in Seymour, 11th in Layton, 11th in Seymour, and 6th in Franklin, no four-way stops. Now, the reason I bring this up as a new resident and people being encouraged to come and visit the parks and any place else, the cemetery, you're going along and you see, oh, I don't have to stop. There's no stop sign. And you don't notice that the other person doesn't have to stop. And sooner or later, there's going to be an accident. And I've been told that there have been a number of them already. One of the ladies that works for the police department was involved in an accident when she was 16 years old. The chief told me that there was one involving a pickup truck versus motorcycle, and we know how that usually ends. I guess I just don't understand it. But from a legal, I should say from a liability perspective for the city, I kind of know what's going to happen eventually. There's going to be an accident. The insurance companies are going to want to see the police report, and they're going to say, oh, there were no stop sign, because they want to find out who's at fault. And then they're going to go to subrogation. And I know what that's about because my daughter works for Progressive Insurance in that department. And then what's going to happen is somebody's going to get a lawyer, and they're going to sue the people with the deepest pockets. And that's going to be the city. And they're going to say, why don't you have stop signs? So I guess I don't understand it. I mean, if somebody can tell me, why, I guess I'm looking for an explanation. Okay, the second thing I'd like to talk about is, this relates to the mayor's article about the parks. Go down to Rand Park, and it's absolutely gorgeous. I've been there 2 or 3 years for Christmases before we moved here. Can't believe that a city of this size puts on that gorgeous Christmas display. I mean, we do a great job. But then you go riding around the parks, and if you're going to be kind, there's a thing there that you would call it a garage or a shed or an outbuilding. And I guess it's where the people keep the supplies for the plants. If you're going to be realistic about it, it's a shack. And it looks terrible. It doesn't relate at all to the beauty of the park. I mean, something could and should be done to either replace it or at the very least, maybe get some, I don't know if we hire college kids over the summer, get somebody to scrape it and paint it. But for everything else that's going on, all the positive things that are going on, that's just one thing that I would like to bring to the council's attention. Thank you.
Hello, Mike Greenslaw, 203 Navajo Drive. I have a question for City Council. It's similar to the gentleman before, and that is, how many of you guys knew about Park Improvement Fund? Because from what I gathered, it seems that most of you didn't know about the Park Improvement Fund. After a nearly 15-minute conversation about how we're going to use $50,000 from the general fund, now using it for the park, taking that out of the Park Improvement Fund. And that's not just a small amount. It's $412,000. That's almost $500,000. Where did this come from, and how long have we had it? I know back when we were meeting at the middle school, it was brought up that we should have an in-depth audit. It seems that we were having some money issues back then, and at that time, council voted not to do an audit because likely we were not going to find anything. But now, several years later, we have almost $500,000 park improvement fund, which is good. I'm not saying that that's necessarily a bad thing, but I've been on the Parks Board for a couple of years now, as well as being on K-Play, and have been coming to meetings or watching meetings online since we were at Blondo. And this is the first I've heard of it. I've also checked with a couple other Parks Board members before, and they have also not heard about this. So when the Parks Board has been struggling to find money to fix equipment and finding money for the play surface, I think that it is important to know how much money we have in our budget so we can make that so we can make the parks an enjoyable place and make the proper improvements and not waiting until it has been deteriorated. I know recently I came up asking for funds from the hotel motel tax for K-Play and for the handicap accessible play area for the restroom and changing. It was never brought up then that we have a Parks Improvement Fund. Why couldn't we use that money for that? You know, and then that would free up some money from the hotel motel tax to be used for other projects. And then since I'm up here talking about Parks Board, what city council member is who is our city council liaison? Because we haven't seen a city council member for over a year. I asked because a couple of weeks ago, we had a workshop, or we had a discussion about smoking in the parks. The Parks Board voted at that meeting to ban the smoking in the park. But we had no council member representing us, and we didn't know that that was going to be discussed in a workshop. I think that there needs to be some type of connection between parks and the city as far as knowing what was discussed and you know, I think myself, I would have come to a meeting and discussed some Parks Board stuff if we weren't going to have representation. But I just think there needs to be a little bit better communication between the two boards. So thank you.
Cole, do we have a liaison for council and parks?
No, there is not a formal liaison. What it is through staff, you know, staff attends each of the park board meetings and then they report back and the minutes are shared. But we don't have a formal liaison. There isn't a council member assigned to that board.
So that might be something we should look at, maybe getting a council person on maybe a couple different things around town then, if we want to stay informed.
That's a good idea, so.
Okay. Thanks, Kathy.
When I was on a park board, the supervisor over the parks made the meetings.
What do you say?
He said when he was on the park board. The supervisor ran the park meetings. Oh. Okay, anybody else? For citizens' request? Okay, we'll move on to item number 6, consent agenda. Minutes of the regular city council meeting and council workshop of April 6, 2023. Cash receipts and treasurer's report for March 2023. Resolution approving a liquor license for Black Sails LLC, 1324 Main Street, effective May 1st, 2023, Class C retail alcohol license. Resolution approving a liquor license for Walgreens, number 5886, 1215 Main Street, effective May 22nd, 2023, Class E retail alcohol license. Approving sidewalk display permits for 2023 to 2024, Dan's Pawn and Gun LLC. Approving a special event permit for J&M Display 4th of July fireworks display, Rand Park and River Road, 8 a.m. to midnight. And motion, and then Cole, you have something you need to say?
Yes, we're going to remove item number 7 from the agenda, the public hearing on the budget. I didn't file the annual urban renewal report, and that has to be approved by the city council before we can hold the public hearing and approve the budget. So we're going to move everything back a month. We'll approve the urban renewal on May 4th, set a new public hearing for the budget for May 18th. The Department of Management notified me this morning of that. All I can say is that usually comes in, the notice usually comes in October, November, and somehow I missed it as a reminder. There's no penalty for us delaying action on the budget until May. So we're going to need to remove that item from the agenda.
Motion to pay bills and transfers listed in registers number 5334 through 5335. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda, including the consent agenda and the agenda as amended?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 All opposed? Item number 8, motion to approve initial reading of an ordinance amending chapters 13.04, 13.08, 13.10, and 13.14 sewer regulations of the Keokuk Municipal Code. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
So I need a roll call.
Crenshaw,
Aye.
Alteid,
Aye.
Altman's,
Aye.
Tillman,
Aye.
Bryant,
Aye.
Greenwald,
Aye.
I would not recommend waiving the second and third and let it go through its full 3 readings.
Okay, so I still need to ask, do I have a motion to waive the second and third reading of this ordinance? That fails, and we'll move on to the next item. Item number 9, consider resolution accepting an annual financial audit report for fiscal year ending June 30th, 2022. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
We do have Alex Barr on go to meetings here, and he is going to review the audit with you. He's on telephone. So I can put the microphone up to here. Hopefully you can hear him. So, Alex, you're on.
Yeah, can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Okay, thanks for having me tonight. Yeah, as Cole mentioned, I'm going to briefly review the fiscal year 22 audit. Can you see the audit report on your screen?
Yes.
Okay, is it big enough?
Yep, I got it.
Okay. Okay, so I'm going to scroll through and mention some highlights of the audit for fiscal year 22. The first page I'm going to review is the independent auditor's report. On page 2. So at the top of page 2, it says independent auditor's report. So we're paid to provide an opinion on the financial statements. And this is the opinion listed here is the same opinion we've issued in prior years. It's the best opinion you can give to a city. There is one historical comment about the aggregate discretely presented component units not being audited. That's are not included in this report. It's the waterworks and the library foundation. You'll see in the summary of opinions table all the different opinions on the opinion units and the different funds, and that they all say unmodified, which is the best opinion we can issue to a city, except for this line called aggregate discretely presented component units, which is first because those 2 entities are included in the report. So, and that's no change from previous years. Now I'm going to scroll to page 8. At the top of page 8, it says changes in cash basis net position of governmental activities. So governmental activities would consist of the general fund, special revenue fund, debt service fund, capital project fund. And so these are the governmental activities, revenue and expense. So near the middle of the table, total receipts for fiscal year 22 were $15,100,804. That's $921,000 increase from the previous year. And farther down, total disbursements fiscal year 22 were $14,060,768. That is a $1.2 million increase from the previous year, and a chunk of that was $400,000 related to an increase in debt service expense. So for governmental activities, the overall change in cash basis net position was an increase in cash of $1,102,036. Ending cash for governmental activity total was $6,839,892. Now I'm going to scroll to the next page, page 9. At the top of page 9, the title is Changes in Cash Basis Net Position of Business Type Activities. So this would be the sewer activities, bridge activities, solid waste activities here. For fiscal year 22, total receipts for business type activities was $8,664,316, and that included $1.8 million of note proceeds during the year. Farther down, total disbursements for business type activities for the year were $5,029,880. So the overall change in cash basis net position for business type activities was an increase in cash of $3,392,524. Now I'm going to go to page 10. On page 10, near the middle of the page, we have a section called Debt Administration. I just wanted to point out the outstanding debt as of 22 that was outstanding. There's general obligation bonds and notes of $13,485,000, and then there's revenue notes of $11,786,241, for total debt of $25,271,241. That's a $731,000 decrease from the previous year. Now I'm going to scroll to page 17. So at the top of page 17, it says notes to the financial statements. Typically at board meetings, council meetings, we don't review the notes in detail. So I didn't tell the readers of the report to review the notes because they provide additional information about our audit report. So I'm not going to do a detailed review of these notes. I'd encourage you all to read them. I'm going to go to page 32 and 33 now. So pages 32 and 33 is our budget actual, and we compare budgeted revenues and expenses versus actual revenues and expenses. And if there's any expense line items that go over budget, we're required to report those on the audit, no matter how significant it is. And so on page 33, we have two line items, expense side that exceeded budget, capital projects and debt service. In total, about $139,000. So a very low total in comparison to the percentage of total budget, but we're still required to report that. On pages 32 and 33, that's where that's reported. Now I'm going to go to page 54. Page 54 through the end of the report is the schedule of findings. Any audit comments, report comments, issues that we found, if they're significant, they show up in the schedule of findings. And so on this, there's an item at the top called 1A22, segregation of duties. This is our historical comment about segregation of duties, and accounting standards expect that a city would have enough staff on hand to segregate every transaction cycle, cash, accounts receivable, accounts payable, payroll, et cetera. And a lot of cities don't have that budget to employ 5 to 6 accounting staff. And so this is a very common comment to have in an audit report. And I think it's the city of Keokuk audit report for quite some time. So I wanted to point that out to you. And then in part 2 on the schedule of findings, we have the comment that I already mentioned about the certified budget and the two expense items being over the budget by a small amount. So that's also included in the audit report. That concludes what I was going to present today regarding the audit. If there's any questions or comments, I'd be happy to answer anything.
Do we have any questions for Alex?
Okay, so we already have a first and a second, so no more questions. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
All right, thank you, Alex.
Thanks, Cole. See ya.
Item number 10, consider resolution sending a public hearing on amendment to the fiscal year 2022 to 2023 annual budget. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Item number 11, consider resolution authorizing adjustments in sewer charges related to filling swimming pools. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
In previous years, the city has granted adjustments to the sewer bills for residents filling swimming pools. This is not within our code of ordinance and should be approved by the council annually through a resolution. The adjustment would reduce the sewer charges to the resident's 12-month average, and the adjustment must be requested by the resident prior to the due date of the billing. The months where they are filling their pool and can request are for May and June.
Any more discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Item number 12, consider resolution adopting maternity paternity leave policy for the city of Keokuk. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
The policy provides for an alternate duty assignment for pregnant employees when they reach a point where they can no longer complete their normal duties. Alternate duty assignments will be given if there is one available. Employee may be moved to other departments. Work hours may be adjusted. A number of work hours are not guaranteed. The policy also provides for 2 weeks of paid maternity and paternity leave. That leave would count towards any 12 weeks of FML leave if they choose to take FMLA leave.
Any more discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 All opposed? Item number 13, consider resolution approving officer training reimbursement agreement for the Keokuk Police Department. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
The agreement is with Mason Shao. Is that correct? Shao? Officer Shao will be required to reimburse the city for total training expenses in the following instances: fails to obtain state of Iowa certification, voluntary leaves employment with the city prior to 5 years of service, is dismissed from employment before 5 years of service. Certain exceptions to the above may apply. The agreement also sets forth a repayment plan.
Any more discussion?
Are these typical for a new police officer? This is the first one that I've seen, so I didn't know if this is what you usually do.
Yeah, these are typical now across law enforcement across the nation, really.
Okay, so we've done these before.
Yes.
We have, yeah.
Okay,
Because we invest so much into the officers' training, once they get certified, that makes it makes it easier for them to transfer to another department. So we want to make sure that our investment is recouped.
okay.
It should be clarified, though, that it is a tiered system depending on when they would leave between that 1 and 4 years. It's prorated.
Yeah.
Any more discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Item number 14, consider resolution approving officer training reimbursement agreement for the Keokuk Police Department. Do I have a motion to approve? So moved.
Second.
Same as the last one. Except for it's with Philip Dunlap. Yeah.
Any more discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Item number 15, boards and commissions.
We have one appointment to the Building and Housing Advisory Board, Robert Cannon, who would represent the electrician. 2 notifications that don't require a vote, and then we also have a resignation from the Rand Park Pavilion Commission and Kevin Helmick. I can take those as an omnibus motion.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Any commission reports? Item number 16, council liaison reports.
We had a safety meeting this morning. Everything, no nurses, no near misses reported. Everything seemed like it was going along okay.
I wasn't able to attend the safety meeting because I was on the radio this morning. We are looking into some software that will help us with our SDS sheets. I'm trying to gather approximately how many SDS sheets we have across the city, which would then give us a price from the company, what the software would do if we went with the upgraded package. They do have a package, a smaller package for a whole lot less money, but it's not as convenient as the bigger package. But what it would do is they would enter in all of our SDS sheets, and then those sheets would automatically update when new sheets come out. We can add sheets just by simply searching for items. It makes it also so that there's an app that can be loaded to phones. So if the fire department is out, they can quickly look up an SDS sheet, not just ours, but any SDS sheet. And there's a 24-hour call center so that they can also call and say, hey, I've got this, what's the SDS say? So
Is the price for the software going to be spread out amongst all the departments' budgets?
yeah, they would be spread out amongst all the departments. I'm trying to get a price based upon the number of SDS sheets we might have, because the base price is $2,500. So I'm assuming that the number of SDS sheets will be low enough that we'll just get the base price. But until we know approximately how many, because if it comes back a lot more than $2,500, it's something that we really have to think about.
Any more discussion? Okay, item number 17, staff report.
I'll go first. Our pretreatment permitting has come along very well. We have all but one completed our meetings with the drafts that have been put out, and everyone is contributing and helping out. We're working well between the individual industries in the city, so it's come along very well.
The City of Keokuk owns property at 118 North 6th Street. We actually received bids on that. I did not put it on the council agenda because it is a city property. If you'd prefer me to do that, I will. Low bid on that was $82.25. High bid was $21,200. So Casey would like to get that assigned to the low bidder. That was Keokuk Contractors.
Sounds great.
Okay. We also identified a couple properties on Timea Street that are across from the park that are in pretty bad shape. We did get permission to go into one of them. They're both vacant and considered abandoned by Iowa code. We did go into one of them, like I said, with one of the owner's permission. It's very solid. It doesn't have any windows in it. They've been all broken out. The other one has a roof that needs repaired. I would like to go ahead and see if we could do a 657 on those. It could go through Southeast Iowa Housing, Inc. It could go through the city of Keokuk, but to get those into the hands of a developer before they get any worse. If the city's okay with that, council's okay with that, we can start that procedure of just looking into it better and seeing what is owed on as far as back taxes and such.
Which park are you referencing?
I'm sorry?
Which park? You said by Timea.
It's across from Kilbourne Park. It's 19th and Timea. There's two houses there that,
Yeah.
one of them is very, well, they're both very obvious. But they're both in decent enough shape that we can save them if we go ahead and get them into somebody's hands.
Okay,
I
sounds
think
good
it's,
to me.
I think it's absolutely critical that we make sure that we look at the tax liens because that happened the last time. Like, they just give us the property. There might be a whole bunch of liens on there that we want to make sure that we get those.
The
clean.
657 would
That's
wipe.
exactly,
yeah,
that's what I'm
they
saying.
would wipe the liens off
Yeah,
of them.
if we do the 657A, I think I would highly recommend we go that
Yep.
path. So thanks.
And rezoning requests will be coming to the council. I need to set a public hearing. That'll be for May 18th. Dan Long is wanting to rezone 423, 427, 417, and 419 Timea. They're right now in R3. He wants to rezone those to an M1 to build 2 additional storage units. So just letting you know, that'll be coming to you here in a couple weeks.
Ram Park Pond, construction is complete and the pond is filling as we speak. It should be full before the end of the weekend. We're hoping probably sometime tomorrow, actually. The water will need to set for 3 to 4 weeks to dechlorinate, and then we will test it to see if we have to add any chemicals to do that, but we're hoping not. Then we are working with Bjornson Pond Management out of Cedar Rapids for the restocking, which we'll be doing that after we find out that there isn't any chlorine left in the water. Riverfront Trail, we did get DOT approval, and Tallgrass has finished their field work for the archaeological study. They did find 2 areas where they found turn of the 19th century artifacts. They still need to process that. They did say that is fairly common with a town of this age. Don't think it's going to be an issue for what we're doing down there. So we're waiting to hear back from them on that. We did the cemetery tombstone tune-up was held last Saturday on the 15th. We had a good turnout. We actually got quite a bit done before the storms hit around 10:30 or 11. Flood projections, currently we are at about 11.5. Right now, we're projected to hit 14.7 by next Thursday. Those hydrographs update every 24 hours. We'll be watching them closely. I have already had our guys start clearing out our old bridge department building. We were storing the new play equipment for Victory Park in there, and the new equipment or the materials for the shelter house were in there. AC Contracting has came down and moved those to his facilities because he's our contractor who's going to be putting them up. And then we are currently moving out the city's equipment that's down there. We have some generators and trailers and some bucket truck, a couple vehicles, but we'll have all that out of there before next week. And our flood, in case you don't know, our flood stage is at 16 feet is when it gets over the bank and would impact that. So we are probably looking at getting there within the next month. So we'll be ready for that.
The 2 officers that we hired, Mason Chow and Philip Dunlap, have been riding with us or on our payroll, getting familiar with the department. They start the academy on May 1st with a graduation date in August.
I have one item. Councilmember Crenshaw had asked earlier in the day to, when we considered the maternity and paternity policy, that because we had an employee who within the last month, his spouse had had a baby, that we could make it retroactive. My recommendation would be is if we did that, make it retroactive back 10 weeks. And then the 2 weeks of paid paternity leave in this instance would still count towards the 12 weeks of FMLA. If that's something you want to do, you can make a motion to reconsider on that and then amend the motion and pass it again if that's so desired.
Yeah, I think it's important to recognize that we started talking about this paternity and maternity leave in March, and the baby was born the 31st, which was right before this got put on the April 6th workshop. So I feel like it's important to recognize that that employee should get to take advantage of the paternity leave, since they just missed it by a few weeks.
So again, if that's something, there would need to be a motion to reconsider.
So I'd so move in that regard.
So there's a motion to reconsider.
I'll second that.
Okay. So now we would need somebody to make a motion to amend the original motion to allow it be retroactive back to 10 weeks.
I would like to make a motion that we would do just that, make it retroactive for 10 weeks so we can take care of our own people. I mean, like Chris has said, we started talking about this and it just, because things move sometimes slowly, obviously she couldn't hold off until we got done.
Why
Bit
not?
too much to ask.
Second.
Any more discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Item number, do you have staff report, sir?
That was it.
That was it? Okay. Item number 18, new business. Anybody, new business? With that being said, item number 19, I need a motion to adjourn this meeting. So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Let's go home.